Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Sing Podcast. And as you can see, we have an impromptu. Um, yep, this will be impromptu. I think 31, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, as you see from the title, we're gonna be talking about consumption. This episode for me is kind of important, and I need to discuss it because it kind of goes hand in hand with where I stand, the break, seasons 9 through 12, all of that other good shit, right? Um, but specifically, I want to talk about consumption because I've learned and I've observed that we consume far more than we digest, far more than we excrete. And initially, I wanted to say defecate because you got to shit the shit out, but take what's good and get out the rest. But I rather use excrete, you feel me? So I can be quote unquote professional and all that good shit. But I think the most important part about the consumption is that like I watch how we OD on content, on information, and we don't process none of the shit. It's such an overload that rather than digesting and excreting, we vomit it. Regurgitation for the most part, but we vomit it. And it's wow because you can consume. And see, the thing about the mind is that in the soul, we can consume infinite amounts of shit and never be satisfied, never have a point. It's not like the physical body where you eat food and then you're full. When do you become full with the mind? When you become full with the soul? And even deeper than that, what are you consuming on a regular basis? In what capacity? Right. And the reason why this episode is what I wanted to talk about, because I literally, like, just today or yesterday, one of the two. I know it's like, well, if it's today, either way, I just deleted the TikTok app because I literally had to delete that motherfucker. Like, I don't even know when I started fucking with TikTok, right? Because it's trash. I don't like the app as a whole, but because of that, I was like, why in the fuck am I here? Right. So my big sister, she would always send me like, here's a TikTok. Go, you know what I'm saying? I look at it, and then I got another homie. It's like she would just flood my DMs, my TikTok DMs with shit. And it got to a point where I was just like, I was always checking it. And then one day I was just on the app. Now, mind you, this is like months ago. This is like months ago. I wasn't even a TikToker. Like, even when I was doing my master in the market page, right? Because that's what my TikTok platform is, master in the market. I just don't use it because it's like I don't. It's too much. It's too much, right? So as I got up there, I'm like, damn, bro, I I'm just here. And then it'll be like I see a dance, see a song, and a rabbit hole just start to change. I started to see battle rap. I started to see shit that I was, already on, but I wasn't seeing anything that I was learning, right? And then it started, I don't know how it just plugged into my algorithm, the whole black men, black women beef. I always knew that there was a beef, like, because it's like, we operate as two separate entities or whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. But it was something that I wasn't really too consumed with and too worried about because I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not on that side of reality. And then I would start to see people more my age, then start to see people older than me on TikTok, all these, and it's like, damn, this shit is really a problem. And then it got, the 50-50 battle. Then these women ain't shit, these motherfuckers ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. And it just got so consuming. And I realized like yesterday, this is when it hit me that I had consumed too much that I should not have been consuming. Because as I'm scrolling, I'm looking and I'm like, I literally said these words. I said, I don't even want to have a relationship no more. Like, I don't want to be with anybody no more. And – in that moment, it hit me because I'm like, where did the consumption happen to where this is now the final result? To where I had consumed so much of this shit that it just made me say, you know what? I don't want to do this shit no more. Like I literally was because I said, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of, I'm like, but then it hit me. I was like, I'm not even in the same bracket as these motherfuckers that are talking about this shit. So that led into this episode today, which is about consumption and the different levels of consumption and why it's important that when we consume, we digest what we're consuming and we excrete what we're consuming as well without becoming constipated mentally and spiritually. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at underscore just underscore seen underscore. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And that's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into Impromptu Pop Ups 31. My bad, I had a burp. We're going to dive into Impromptu Pop Ups 31, consumption. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things just seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're gonna dive straight into it. So, at the time of this recording, um, if you follow me on Instagram and shit, you notice that I haven't been posting, right? I haven't had, and this is what ties into this reality. I haven't had an original thought that I am used to thinking in a while. And it'll come in spurts. Like there was a time when it was like a open tap filter just running. And as I said, I'm like spending time with this app that I don't fuck with. And then I'm looking at it on a bigger scale. Like when I was just an Instagrammer, I'm still an Instagrammer type motherfucker. Like, so while I was just on Instagram, I was more so, I was in control. Right. And I know it's like, oh, you should have been controlling TikTok. No. I should have been, but I wasn't. I can admit that. But you lose control when it comes to consumption, you eventually lose control of what you consume. And you just consume it. There's no cap, there's no limit, there's no reason as to why you're consuming the shit that you're consuming. And I'm speaking for myself, but I'm speaking also in terms of how much I observe, because it's like when you look at people that you're in alignment with, right? This is very, very important because this ties into consumption. When you think about the people that you're in alignment with, chances are you guys are consuming the same things. On a physical level, yeah, you're consuming the same food, but I mean even bigger than that. Mentally, spiritually, you're consuming the same things, right? When you are consuming things that are starving you, right? They're not nourishing you. They're not giving you what you need, but yet you can't stop consuming them. What does that mean that you're doing? Right? What does that say about your alignment? This is not to shit on my sister or shit on one of my homies, because like we've been friends and we've been down for a minute. Like me and my sister, of course, been together all my life, but me and my homie, we've been friends since my freshman year of college, right? So it's like the bombardment of continual information, and it's because information is like we got to get to a point where we can stop looking at information as a whole as good, right? We consume information is just that. It's just pieces of shit. Not like negatively, but it's literally just shit. Like it's literally just something that's there. And you have to go through different levels of the mind in order to get to understanding of the information. So This is why, if you looked at the past few episodes from season 8, not even the past few, the episodes of season 8 where I talked about the belief levels of the mind, belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Information is simply information is operable, is consumed at the belief level. Let me say that. Information is consumed at the belief level of the mind. When you're consuming faster than you're digesting, faster than you're excreting and processing all of the shit that you're consuming on a regular basis, you're never really gaining knowledge. Information and knowledge aren't the same shit, right? I've observed just from previous expressions of my own self when I used to quote unquote drop knowledge and shit, and everybody was, drop that knowledge, king, blah, blah, blah. That didn't go to my head. What made me really look at people differently was like, I'm just giving y'all information that I've consumed. You don't know whether what I'm saying is real, false, or not, but you trust in what I say. And in trusting what I say, you're willing to consume abundant amounts of what I'm able to give you. Here's why this flips onto the other side of consumption. Because, yeah, I started off talking about the consumption of myself and the things that I was consuming on a regular basis. But then it's like when people consume you, when people begin to consume you, you step into a space where you want to be available at all times to be consumed. This is a reality that we're living in when it comes to entertainment. Everybody wants to be entertained. Everybody. Everybody wants to be entertained. And entertainment, as we know, etymologically means to go in and hold the mind. Everybody wants their mind held according to something, but nobody defines what it is what their diet is, what it is that they really want to consume. So they go around to what tastes good in some regards. And then once they find that sweet spot, it runs. One of the reasons why, it ties into this, is probably not the reason why, but it connects now. One of the reasons why I take breaks between my podcasts is because I overwhelm y'all, low key. I abundantly give y'all shit without the time to process it. Yeah, I give you 2 episodes. You can watch it you can listen to the first one on a Wednesday, and then the next one drops on a Saturday, or whatever the case may be. So you have a few days to process the 2 hours that you're listening to. But do you really have that time to process that? You dig what I mean? Do you really have the time to process all that I have allowed you to consume? Right? This ties into us and availability as creators, right? I'm not talking just content creators, and this ties into social media as well and TikTok and shit. Because like when I looked at the content, right, that I was consuming the most of, it was like it's old shit. It's old shit. It's redundant shit, and it's repetitive shit. It's like everybody's saying the same thing, and it's like, are you really consuming? And it makes you wonder: are you really consuming anything real? Or anything new? Just because it's been packaged and there's a new face on it, it's the same shit. Like I said, while I was scrolling, while I was just getting lost down this fucking rabbit hole of TikTok and shit, it's like 5 women and 5 men that when I saw them repetitively, it's like, y'all say the same shit every day. And I get it. It's like, yo, this is their content. But at some point we have to come to terms with, it's like, although this is all that we have to consume, is this all that we have to produce? Because consumption and production go hand in hand, largely. When people start consuming a certain amount, a certain thing, you're the producer of it, you have to. One of the reasons why it ties into why the episode, the podcast, the page, my Instagram page, I've had people tell me you're all over the place. I'm not. I'm not. I just have multiple things that you can consume. And you're used to consuming one thing. And that's what you're here for, right? So you stay in that pocket. But in the grand scheme of it all, I have the capacity to produce whatever I want. Therefore, you're going to have to consume whatever I decide to give you. So whenever I get into these pockets and these bags and I'm giving my content and I'm giving my information, it's because these are the things that I've have consumed, that I've digested, and now I excrete. I don't want to say defecate because I don't want it to come off negative like I'm shitting and shit. Just like, but I'm excreting the information that I have gained, that I have gone, and I have gone through the processes of understanding. When it comes to when I was on a TikTok, I was like, yo, bro, I'm not processing this shit. I'm consuming, but I'm not processing. I couldn't get it. I couldn't like there was no like, and I get it. Oh, I'm an intelligent motherfucker. I process a lot of information that I process information that I deem processable. Shit on TikTok, it don't make no sense. It's stupid, but it's like here y'all go, same conversation, same conversation. Ass shaking here, dance here. That it's like same shit, but you're not processing it. But you don't stop consuming it. That's where the problem came in for me. That's when I started to acknowledge something different. I was like, like it'll be I can draw on this particular post, like or this particular thought or this particular TikTok. I'm like, I seen it again and again and again, and it never processed. That's a dangerous thing. This is one of those reasons. Like I don't know what episode it was, but I started laughing after I said it. But this ties into it because I said when I say something and y'all be like, I never, not y'all, but I mean in general, people be like, yo, I never thought about it like that. And I was puzzled because I said, yo, you've been sitting with this thought all your motherfucking life and you never thought about it. How? You didn't have time to process the abundance of what you consumed in regard to that. I answered that question myself by looking at myself and saying, you know what? I didn't process none of this shit. So if I didn't process it, I definitely didn't digest it. If I didn't digest it, then I cannot excrete it. Right. But then where is it going when it's consumed? You feel me? On our physical bodies, when our body, the indigestion is there and we're not able to digest properly, we get fat. You know why we get fat? Because our body has to store it to digest it for later. We get that on a physical level. Okay, let me stop eating because it's going to make me get fat. And we know that being fat is not a good thing. I get it. Fuck all the body positivity bullshit that they're talking about. I don't care about that. I care about the actual health of the being. Yeah, you can be big and be healthy. You can be small and be unhealthy. But the fact of the matter is, the purpose of fat is to store what you have consumed but cannot digest right now. Okay? We don't think we get fat mentally. We don't think we get fat spiritually. When we look at one of the quote unquote seven deadly sins, it's gluttony. And all my life, I've heard about gluttony as, oh, it's just eating more. Gluttony is greed and all of this other shit is like being fat. And no, it's not just physical, homie. That's why it's not just a seven deadly. That's why it's just not a deadly sin because it applies physically, it applies mentally and spiritually too. When you consume, but you do not digest, process, or excrete that shit, where does it go? It makes you fat. Makes you fat. It's a lot of fat motherfuckers mentally. And here's what I mean by that. As I'm paying attention to me on this TikTok shit, I just deleted this app, bro. Like for real, this is a very, very important episode to me right now. Like as I'm consuming this shit, I'm mentally getting fat. And and it was so crazy because the mental is getting fat. That means my spiritual is not too far away. We know the mind is the bridge between the body and the soul, right? But I'm chilling and I'm just like, I don't feel like doing shit, right? That's okay. Sometimes you have to be in the moment. You want to, you don't have to be active all the time physically. But when my mind starts to get lazy, that's a problem. And I'm wondering, how did my mind start getting lazy to the point where I don't even want to think? Right. So, in what I'm consuming, and like I said, it got to the point where I'm starting a new book. Right. I've started a new book and I can't overcome the inertia to stay consistent to read. I'm an avid reader. You feel me? I study. I like this particular book. I was like, yo, why the fuck can't I get into the rhythm of this book? Why can't I read this fucking book? Because it is a universal consumption. It's not changing sporadically like this TikTok algorithm is. I'm literally seeing 5 different things and be like, I'll see a dance, I hear a song, I see this, that, and the third. You see so much different shit. Your mind is getting information overload, but it's not in a consistent fashion. You're not learning the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. You're learning this, and then your mind resets here, then your mind resets here, then your mind resets here, then your mind resets here. How many resets do you think it takes for your mind to stop functioning upon consumption? This world has transitioned into something that I don't even think we can quantify anymore. And I'm not going to say it's scary as in, oh, don't think, but be aware. Be aware of all that you consume and the fashion in which you're consuming it. And like I said, it was a direct correlation between me spending a lot of time on TikTok consuming bullshit and me not producing anything. I produce random thoughts that, like, yo, this is a rabbit hole thought. Boom, boom, boom. Let me make this slide for here. Here's the real, blah, blah, blah. Let me do that. I didn't feel it. And I was trying to get to myself. I was like, yo, I can't feel. I can't feel it. Like, I'm a writer too. So I couldn't even come up with bars. Like, from time to time, I'll be wanting to do jam sessions and shit. And I was like, yo, what the fuck can I, like, I had a consistent rhythm where I was going to do a jam session a week. And then it fell off. It fell off. And I'm like, well, I'm justifying why I just don't feel it. I'm just not in it. It's not feeling it. I realized something different about us in this world. A lot of times we tell ourselves things like, yo, we're not feeling this situation, and we're not, it's not that we're feeling. Our mind is too cluttered our mind is too cluttered to be creative with the things that we're doing. Because we've consumed so much that our mind can't focus properly. So, like I said, as I'm consuming this shit, I guess because I'm 32 and the algorithm is built this way for us in relationships and shit, it's like I was like, I don't want a relationship. I don't want to get married. I don't even want to have kids with none of these motherfuckers, yo. I've never said those words before because I've always seen like, yo, I know this really, it's a reality here. You feel me? But then I was like, yo, there's no hope. There's no hope. And it's like, as I'm watching how people are playing this what they're consuming and what they're producing and what we're consuming is crazy because it's it's so overwhelming that we don't know that we're overwhelmed. And like I said, I'm liking it to my own podcast as a whole, and as the producer of this information, I'm like, motherfuckers gonna listen. But then it's like, I have a couple homies like, yo, I just heard your episode from 4 seasons ago. I'm like, which one? Like, what did I say? Because I don't be recalling this shit, it's off the head. So it's like, I had to take a step back. It's like, yo, I produced that much content. And then I had to sit with myself and say, you know what? I don't give y'all enough time to process this shit. This is not to say like I'm gonna stop the rhythm because this is what it is. I got 4 more seasons like this and we're gonna lock it out. Um, but at the same time, it's like I have to give y'all breaks. That's why this break is kind of long. It's a lot longer because I'm coming to the revelation that, yo, you're giving people a lot to consume. How much, like, and the shit that I'm talking about, it's not like the shit that you're consuming on a regular basis. This is shit that has to go through different levels of your mind for you to get it. And then it's like, I'm not giving you any time. I'm not saying I'm gonna stop this shit because this is what it is. But what I'm saying is that the way in which I consume, the way in which I produce is also catered to a consumption-based mentality. But let me add that part to it too. I don't just bombard y'all with information. I guide you into the level of understanding. You feel what I mean? So I don't, like I always say, don't believe what I'm saying, but hear what I'm saying. Here's the information, right? Here's how it becomes knowledge. Here's my experience with it, and here's the understanding that this is going to give you, that this lesson was supposed to teach you. So I break it down and I take you through all forms of the mind, but as I watch social media, nobody else does that. I just have the wherewithal because this is how I operate on a regular basis, the wherewithal to look and say, you know what, let me put you through all levels of the mind. Some people just want you to believe them and trust them. So they bombard you with shit so you can hear it enough for it to sound good coming from me. This is why my episodes don't usually have themes behind them as far as like a series goes. You know what I'm saying? Like Belief, Knowledge, Wisdom, and Understanding. That was a 4-part series. The Entrepreneur Goose, that's a series. But for the most part, each one of my episodes is different and based off of where I feel I should be going for that day. You feel me? Because a lot of what I produce is designed for the people who are consuming what I have. You feel me? But it's the consumption that wonders me, that makes me wonder and worries me because, and yes, I really mean worry. I know people say, oh, you shouldn't worry. Fuck y'all. Worry, you do worry. That's why motherfuckers can't solve their problems because they don't worry enough. This is a quick tangent. I just got upset with this because it's like I hear people all the time say, if you gonna worry about it, don't. If you gonna pray about it, don't worry about it. Bullshit. That's bullshit. If you're not worried about your problem, you'll never solve it. I've learned that when people are, and now this ties into the consumption because people will overconsume shit to distract them from what they're worried about. Because while they're worried, they're not trying to solve the problem. That's where shit begins sad, yo. That's where shit begin devastating because it's like I be looking at motherfuckers who be like, this ain't working for me. I know people personally who would tell me shit like, um, I need this. You feel me? Or I'm not getting this because this, that, and the third, or whatever. I'm like, yo, solve the problem. It ain't that easy. It is that easy. I don't give a fuck. Like, if it's in your mind, it's conceivable to do whatever you want to do with it. Where people lost this capacity, I don't know. So I flip shit because it's like where people saying, oh, if you're going to pray about it, don't worry about it. Don't worry about shit that you can't control. What? What? No, you worry about it to learn how to gain control of the shit. The fuck? Like, this is one of my realities. Like, and this is something that I've been tapping into astrology again. I've been studying again. And something that I've learned about astrology that a lot of people don't really consider because I don't use shit as a belief system. I don't believe in anything anymore. I understand shit that's in my mind. This is also why we're having this episode because it's like there came a point I was just consuming shit and I wasn't trying to understand it. But I typically like to understand shit. So as I'm studying astrology, something that new that I've learned and I've come to terms with that I don't hear any astrologers talking about because it doesn't cater to the freedom, right? They'll say, you know, they want you to believe in your sign, not use your sign's energy. So something that I've learned about is the aspirations. Every sign has an aspiration. All 12 zodiac signs have an aspiration. All 13, if you count Ophiuchus, but that's we're not gonna talk about that because that's a different genre, yo. That changes reality sometimes. It's a lot more precise because it's 13. But anyway, when you're looking, when you're looking at your zodiac signs, each zodiac sign has an aspiration, right? This aspiration is the hardest thing for this sign to master. Period. Right? So each sign has its own individual thing. So now when we consider our natal charts, right? Our natal chart is the image and likeness that we're created in of God. Like, so just the season 9, I'm gonna teach y'all some shit for real, for real. But your natal chart is the image and likeness that you are of God. That is how God is trying to, or Allah, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, whatever. That is how it is trying to understand itself, which is you're trying to understand yourself. But we have 12, right? We have 12 individual things that we have to master in this world. Some of us don't have to master it. Well, no, we do because all of the signs are active in our charts. But every planet, this was a sidebar, so it's not. Forgive me if I'm off a little bit. But anywho, let me slow down. Let me slow down. My mind's working too fast right now. Finally, but each zodiac sign has an aspiration that it must work with. It's going to tie into the worry part that I'm dealing with. As an Aries, the Aries aspiration. I'm using Aries because there's so many different signs that you can get to, but as an Aries, the aspiration is control, right? So you look at Aries, oh, Aries are so impulsive naturally, which means that your aspiration is to maintain control and to learn how to control shit. right? So I'm saying that, I'm liking that to this point right here because when people tell you not to worry about shit, why do you think you worry? Because it's a problem that you need to solve. You dig what I'm saying? The worry that comes to you is because only you can solve the problem. People miss that a little bit. It's like when you come with with a problem and you bring it to other people and they tell you not to worry about it. Of course, they don't because it's not their fucking problem. Poverty for me is not the same problem as poverty for somebody else. So we solve it differently. So when people ask me, why do you do day trading and investing? People can't see day trading and investing as a positive thing or or solution to a problem of poverty, but yet they don't want to solve their own problem. I've experienced every possible way that they told me is supposed to get me out of poverty, and none of them worked. None of them worked. But that problem got solved by me because I worried about it. You feel what I'm saying? But here's the difference in that. I not only consumed the worry and the problem, but I digested it, which allowed me to excrete the solution. What we're doing now is we're medicating ourselves with the shit that we consume. We overeat. We overeat. If we overeat physically, you can put money on we overeat mentally, which means we fucking have smorgasbords of shit spiritually. We overconsume and we don't digest shit. We don't excrete the shit that is supposed to be excreted from us. You dig what I'm saying? And it leaves us lost in a world of bewilderment. So the only thing that we can do is because in all of this consumption without digestion and without excretion, we become confused and we only connect ourselves with other confused motherfuckers. And the normalcy of confusion causes us to think the same. So while we're thinking, I fucks with you because you think like me. No, we consumed enough of the same shit to be equally confused. And because we're equally confused, we're not we're because we're equally confused and not willing to solve our confusion. We connect on that type time, and in connecting in that type time, we think this is the new reality for us. Are you walking with me, real quick? Let me bring that back. Right when you consume, but you don't digest and you don't excrete the shit. You just keep consuming. You're now going to involve yourself with somebody, not just physically as far as relationship goes, but I mean, your friends, your residents is going to be with that equal confusion. And then that becomes normalcy. So when people say shit like that unanimously doesn't make sense, it still makes sense to all of the confused people because they have consumed so much, they don't know that it's confusion that they've consumed. They think it's normalcy. Case in point, tying it back into the relationship thing with TikTok and scrolling down all of that shit and black men this, black women that, they don't like everybody's against each other. It's like we have normalized the confusion of separation. We've consumed it so motherfucking much and nobody's digested it. Nobody's excreting it. And it's in the lack of excretion that we regurgitate. We vomit. Look at it from a metaphorical perspective, but tie it to your physical. If you eat too much, you're going to throw up. If you eat too fast, you're going to throw up. What do we think happens when we consume shit mentally? We're going to throw up. We consume it too fast and we consume too much. So now when we speak shit, it's always what you heard, not what you know. Not what you understand. And even when what you understand conflicts with the reality of what you heard, you can't change it because you consume too much. Case in point, I got into a heated argument. Heated. When I say we almost scrapped with a religious person because they tried to condemn me to hell. I don't mind us disagreeing, but two things you never do to me: never condemn me to hell and never call me a devil worshiper. Those are the two most disrespectful things you can say to me, and I respond as if I'm disrespected. So I wasn't the one who's about to, put the paw, but I wasn't opposed to the problem. So as the conversation is going, the motherfucker tells me, "You need to go to church." I said, "No, I don't. Church is trash." That was the conversation. Don't tell me what I need to do and don't come at me in a way that, what you mean? The church is within, is it not? Now, here's why I'm saying that, because people consume so much. This person is telling me, you need church. You need church. That's something that they've consumed abundantly, but sparingly they've heard the church is within. So when I told them, hey, the church is within, I go to church every day. Okay, the church is within, but you still got to go to. No, I don't. You can't consciously tell me that the church is within. You feel me? And then tell me at the same time I need to be in a building. I need to strengthen the building that is within it. So we got into it or whatever. And I said, you don't believe God. You don't believe in God. You don't love God. None of that shit. You fear hell. That's why you feel like you need to be in the building. Why? Because for 400 fucking years, what we've consumed without digesting, without processing, and damn sure without excretion, was that we ain't shit. We ain't shit. So then it got to a point where, because we're the real Jews. No, we're not. There is no such thing as real Jew or whatever. I got you. But they're like, well, we're the Hebrews because of what we've consumed of a curse. We consumed that we are the cursed beings here and we're supposed to remain cursed forever. So I said, I'm not cursed. I'm not going to be cursed. I'm not going to continue to be cursed. Something that I've learned in my spiritual journey and studying spirituality is karma stops when you want it to. I'm going to say that again. Karma stops the moment you decide to make it stop. When you consume that you are, cursed, you're going to be cursed. That's all you consume. That's all your consumption is, that you curse. So you excrete and you regurgitate a curse, a comfortability being cursed. Not me, not seen, not going to happen ever again. Sorry that I'm not sorry. But as we're talking and we're progressing through this conversation, the motherfucker says, well, we are the real Hebrews. And they go down a list of the 12 tribes and how they scattered around or whatever the case may be. Here's why it almost came to hands, because when you understand some shit, you don't give a fuck about what somebody believes in. And let me say this, if you are a believer in shit, stop talking to motherfuckers who got understanding. You're going to look stupid. Okay? So the motherfucker says, breaks down 12 tribes and all of that shit and, Gad and all of that shit. I said, let me explain something to you. This is how I know that you don't understand what you're talking about. There's no way you can simultaneously be the indigenous people and be the Hebrews. I try to give it time to process because what I just gave them, they never consumed before. They flipped. What do you mean? How do you? Because to be indigenous means that you're native to the land. The curse says you were shipped off into a distant land. You can't be shipped off to the land that you're indigenous to. Stupid. And yes, I said stupid because, nigga, hey, it is what it is. So then the person had to stop. And there was nothing in their database to regurgitate other than everything that they've consumed. And then it got to the point where, see, that's why we cursed, because of stupid motherfuckers like you. Whoa, don't call me stupid, homie, because you don't have the capacity to understand the information that is given to you right now. You're going to have to sit with it for a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? You're going to have to sit with it a little bit. Let it digest. Excrete some shit. You're going to have to take a bowel movement or two off this motherfucker. Because I transcended something that you never even experienced before. I said, sit with that. And so the conversation got a little bit more heated. So I said, I'm the stupid one, right? But you believe that you're simultaneously indigenous to a land that you were enslaved, that you are simultaneously believing that you are indigenous to a land that you had to be shipped to by boat. Who's really stupid there, motherfucker? And then, of course, this motherfucker led to that motherfucker led to what you're trying to do led the motherfucker pull up, and then it calmed down. And then it calmed down because it was we just got to agree to disagree. You believe what you it's not about believing what I want to believe. It's the fact that what you've consumed was so abundant that you consumed it so much that you didn't have a chance to digest it. And in not having a chance to digest it, you're not able to excrete anything, so you're just vomiting bullshit. Well, you vomiting bullshit. I'm not vomiting bullshit. I can literally show you off of the same critical thought that you're telling me that we are the Hebrews and we are the indigenous people. We can't be both, my nigga. You have to pick one. You have to pick one. And if you pick one, it nullifies the other. If you choose to say that you are the indigenous people, that means you have to put the Bible down. And if you choose to say that you are the Bible and you are the Hebrews, you cannot claim the indigenous lands. Check and checkmate. This is how these niggas got y'all. And everybody's like, well, they're pushing that. They don't want nobody to learn about. They didn't give a fuck about y'all learning about the Hebrews or not, because they know if y'all learn about the Hebrews, y'all not going to claim indigenous land. Y'all going to keep thinking that y'all came from overseas. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, this ties into the main theme of everything, because when we consume so motherfucking much abundantly, and then we don't process none of the shit that we consume. Not only that, in our consumption, we're not consuming any. I'm gonna say it like this: if we look at, if you read Hitting It Raw, right? This is a layered metaphor that I'm about to express. You have 5 tastes: salty, sweet, savory, bitter, and sour. Some of us only consume sweet shit, and there's still 4 other tastes that our taste buds are supposed to register to keep us fully in balance. That means that the food that we consume should have 5 different things in it at a single moment. We should have sweet shit, we should have a little bit of sour shit, a little bit of bitter shit, a little bit of savory shit, a little bit of salty shit. As people, just from the physical aspect of what we consume and eat, we only like salty and sweet shit. Mentally, because as above, so below, as within, so without. What are some of the conversations that you see? Look at most of the shit that we stand on as black people. Most of the shit that consumes us, media wise, it's salty or it's sweet. We don't fuck with bitter shit. We don't. We don't fuck with sour shit. And I'm not just talking about, you feel me, from the perspective of food at this point. Salty shit. The shade room. The shade room. If when motherfuckers throwing shade, are they not salty? Okay, okay. Now let me add it to the next part, right? The sweet shit. Everything is about nothing's wrong with you and your internal growth. You don't have to change shit. Nothing's wrong with you. Everything's sweet. We have developed the most wildest generation of narcissistic people I've ever seen in my life, because all we can do is consume sweet shit. It's so many women right now telling other women that they're the prize. It's so many men telling men right now that you're high value, and ain't none of that shit real. All of that shit is relative to what you're consuming. Women are telling women in sister circles, girl, you the prize. And these women ain't got shit on a reality to do anything tangible with life. As somebody who is a creator, I mean a physical creator, I'm creative, I'm a creator. I have actual creations that I have brought into this world. I do it on a regular basis. You cannot convince me that somebody who has no creations is the prize for me. So with this same token, what we're consuming is that, oh, women are no, this is not me on no shit like, oh, seeing here you go bashing. No, 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 no. I'm speaking on all that I've consumed and all that I watch. It's all sweet and sour. I mean, sweet and salty. Sweet and salty. That's it. There's nothing bitter, because bitter is honest. You avoiding everything right now that is being the bitter, honest truth. I know. I mean, shout out to the stats. You feel me? I'm top 20% globally, as far as podcasts go. But that's not. We not gonna toot that horn. But I speak bitter shit. I often speak sour shit. I speak the shit that you can't digest readily. I don't be salty. I ain't gonna hold you. I do a little salty shit when it comes to religion. I ain't gonna hold you. But I also give you bitter truths. I also give you the sour. I also give you the sweet. And I also give you the savory. I give you everything about something. You feel me? I'm not just gonna rely on one particular point. But the reason why I'm saying that is because when we go to that next level and we look at it mentally and spiritually, those are the things that we consume the most. Salty shit and sweet shit. That's it. This is why people like to gossip. That's why gossip works. Cause that's all we like to consume. Sweet and salty shit. It's crazy how as above, so below is a real sentiment. You dig what I'm saying? But it's tied to what we consume. So when you consume salty shit, you're triggered all the fucking time. But now when we look at a trigger, right? Everybody talking about this trigger me, that trigger me. I've been triggered this, that, and the third. When we look at what triggers us on a regular basis based off of everything that we consume, why can we not deal with anything that makes us better? Only things that make us remain the same. Again, we have this whole high value man. Like motherfuckers are self-proclaimed high value men. And see, here's another thing. Again, down this rabbit hole on TikTok, I see motherfuckers talking about women saying shit like never trust a self-proclaimed good man. And y'all are calling yourselves good women? Self-proclaimed? Nobody's speaking up for y'all, but it's it's weird because it's like that's salty and sweet shit. The salty shit is always shitting on the other person. The sweet shit is always co-signing itself. It's like these women talking about, yo, these men are broke because they don't like, yo, you know, your daddy wasn't even, you don't even know how to deal with over six figures because your daddy didn't even have six figures to give you. And you think a man is supposed to have that shit too? Same shit. Dudes is, I I gotta have a woman to go 50-50, right? Because it's like at the end of the day, the consumption is y'all motherfuckers only want the money anyway. And watching this shit literally had me tight because it had me believing that y'all, this is all y'all on. This is all y'all on. And it showed me how easy it is to get programmed. How easy it is to get programmed. I literally went from, you feel me? I built my entire empire from my great granddaughter to saying, I don't even want to have a relationship no more. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. Back in 2015, 2016, I vowed to myself that I'm going to do everything that I need to do for my great granddaughter. So I wrote the books on masculinity because I realized she's going to grow up in a world where motherfuckers ain't going to be on some other shit. So I need somebody to start consuming this shit now so it resonates. You feel me? Motherfuckers going to have to eat a certain way in order to produce the longevity to actually have some fucking good sense. You feel what I'm saying? So I created the Hitting the Raw program. Wrote like, there's a lot of things that I've done to ensure that whenever my great granddaughter decides to get married, the things that I needed to do are in place for all of this. And all of that in those moments, even day trading and investing, but in all of those moments, I literally said, I don't want this shit no more. I do not, like, motherfuckers have made me hate this shit. And it wasn't even that. It's motherfuckers that is not even in my space. Like, that's where the consumption part becomes a lot more problematic for me. Because it's motherfuckers that are not even in my caliber, in my bracket, in the space of mentality, spirituality, and all of that shit that I am. And I let that change my reality. I gotta let that be a moment of silence. I let that dictate my reality. You dig what I'm saying? How often do we do that? How often have we do that? And then how long have we been doing it? None of us has ever sat with any thought long enough to let it process and digest and be able to give it back in our own way. All we can do is give back what's heard. For example, if we look at the religious people, they have a huge problem with homosexuality. Why? Not because the homosexuals are bad people. You feel me? Not because the homosexual would do some wild shit, but because they've consumed something for so long that this is all that they can understand about it. However, it blows my fucking mind how this is the supposedly the only sin you have. Like that's the only sin they when somebody comes out of the closet, they want to have up who put them in the closet. Let's address the real conversation sometimes. Like a lot of motherfuckers aren't homosexual because they're homosexuals. You feel me? There's a high percentage, I say it's somewhere between the 80s and the 90s, where every person who's homosexual now they've had some kind of situation where somebody touched them, somebody messed with them in some way, shape, or form. There's a trauma there. Nobody addresses the trauma though. Why? Because chances are it's a family member, the closest proximity, and it's a motherfucker that you or the person they don't want to address. They don't truly want to address that situation. You feel me? But in terms of what they consume spiritually, this is why I say, motherfuckers, y'all really don't believe in God. Y'all don't love God. Y'all fear hell. Y'all fear hell. Fear hell. So much so that you might think other people are going to hell because of the situations that you do in your own space. You feel me? But we consume on a regular basis how much we ain't shit religiously. You know how many people, and the sad part about it is like we consume a reality, and this is how religion ties into this shit on a different level. Because we consume religiously, but in what we consume, as far as our religions go, we consume in such a way that doesn't allow us to have accountability or responsibility for ourselves. This is another conversation that I recently had with a motherfucker who I had to you ever, somebody say something and you just look at them and you got to squint your eyes like, did you just say that? Do you know what you just said? So the individual says, you feel me? God has to work on my self righteousness. Yeah, I let y'all digest that for a second before I continue. The deity is responsible for your self righteousness. And I'm like, so you acknowledge you're self righteous. You acknowledge that your self righteousness is problematic and it needs working on, but you're not going to work on it because the deity has to work on it for you. Straight face, the motherfucker said, yeah, because I don't have the capacity to change that for myself. Wow, my nigga, you acknowledge that you are self righteous and an outside source has to change what you know is problematic within you because of what this person consumes. They consume their religion and their spiritual context in such a way that every consumption, the more they consume, the less they have to be accountable and responsible for themselves. Nothing they do is them. Imagine what your life is like when that's all you consume, that nothing It's you. You don't have the power nor the capacity to do anything for yourself. That's scary to me. That's scary to me because when you know that something that you're doing is problematic and you're saying that the deity is responsible for changing it in you, that's scary to me. That's scary. That's a dangerous person in my eyes. Religious people are dangerous people because nothing is ever them. That's scary. And here's what get me. Because the same people will tell me, because I say shit like do without will. You feel me? I get it. Aleister Crowley is, oh, he was a known Satanist or whatever the case may be, blah, 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 blah. I'm not quoting the Satanism shit, but that's a valid sentiment. Do what you will. Because now when you're telling me that you have to follow the will of God and you don't know the will of God, but yet you're following something, what are you really following? So then when motherfuckers say the devil is busy, how is the devil busy? How'd you get this nigga work? Come on. Come on. Where you at? But it's in what we consume. What we consumed as kids, we never consumed accountability and responsibility. We literally watch motherfuckers pray all the time, right? We watch motherfuckers solve their own problems and say they didn't do it. Quick tangent. This is one of the reasons why this is going to get very, very. Everybody loves to talk about they want divine masculine men. Religion and divine masculinity will not go together. You cannot be with a divine masculine man and expect to follow a religion. My sisters, if y'all listening, I need y'all to understand that. When we look at this is why I did that Soul Frail Conversations on our spiritual enlightenment. Most men today, they're only following the religion of their mother or their girlfriend or the woman the womb in which they're coming out of or the womb in which they're going into. That is where the problematic piece comes in because masculinity dies because of that. Because when you're actually analyzing and deconstructing your religious construct, you find that there's flaws. And when you find that there's flaws in something, objectively, you have to walk away from it as a masculine man. Because now what are you leading your people into? As the leader, that's what they love to talk about, being a leader. There's certain shit that you have to actually go in and do. Right? When we look at the religious men, none of them are masculine men. That's scary because that's who we keep putting on the forefront as the people who are going to be the leaders. And we wondering, how do these people fold under pressure? How do they get to a certain point and blah, 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 blah? Because they're following the very religious tenet that enslaved them. You dig what I'm saying? So when we look at what we followed all of this time and what we've consumed, look at how the men are in consumption of the religious reality. Most of the men today, ask them how they got back in church. Oh, my girl, you feel me? I was raised in the church, and then and then it comes a point where who's really leading the family? There's no way. And this is one of the things this is why the buck breaking was what it was, emasculation was what it was. In destroying and breaking down the man, it was solely to physically get him to take the religion. Only one being can convince a man to do something, and that is a woman. But when a woman's energy is constantly being a man with no ties has no threat. What I mean by that is you cannot threaten a man who has no ties. But when that man has that family and he cares for him, now you can break him down because now you can get his strong force, his feeling, his emotional base, which is his woman, to get him to surrender. Our women at the time of the inception were just, we agree with it. Then it got to a point where the religion stuck. Go read the book How to Make a Negro Christian. But anywho, it got to a point where it stuck. And then it got to where you are what your woman was. And the women became this to absolve this. And then we wondered when the hierarchy shift happened and men started getting, the more religious the man is, the softer he is, the less masculine he is because he cannot analyze and deconstruct his world. How many men, if you actually asked them about shit in the Bible and you asked them to ask them about shit in the Quran to break it down, they won't. They'll regurgitate and they'll tell you, they'll regurgitate all they consume, but they will not excrete anything that they have understood. I know, because when I start talking to people about these religious constructs, the shit that I be bringing up to them is like, I never thought about that. You're taking that out of context. No, 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 no. What you've always consumed doesn't taste the same right now. You feel what I'm saying? Cycling back, at the beginning of this episode, I was talking about your natal chart being the image and likeness of God that you're in. I can prove that. I can prove that because I have analyzed and deconstructed what I've consumed for so fucking long. Spiritually, we have consumed the very shit that keeps us enslaved. It keeps us in poverty. To believe that, like, you're in a space where people will say, I just pray that God get me out of this situation financially, but still utter and sing and consume words that say, I don't need anything but Jesus. I don't need the money. I don't need the cars. I don't need none of that shit. You're not going to get out of poverty without none of that shit. Because religion doesn't bring you out of poverty, it keeps you in it. I think we have a bigger problem when it comes to capitalism. People are always saying, well, capitalism works because the poor people are the ones that are exploited. Poor people were exploited long before money. Poor people are exploited by what they're able to consume, digest, and excrete. Because when you're in a classist system, classist society, you feel like because nobody's looking at themselves as humans anymore. They're looking at themselves as the titles that they've achieved. How many people think, oh, I'm educated? You shut up. You shut your mouth. That don't mean shit. You feel me? I got my degree. I'm here. I'm at this level. And you still can only consume what somebody else eat. You're still only able to regurgitate shit. Like when I talk to people, I love talking to psychologists. I love talking to people who study psychology because I didn't study psychology. And they're like, how do you know so much about the mind? How don't you? Is that not what you went there for? Is that not what you brag about having? And you can't understand what I just broke down? Why? Because it's about consumption. Feel me? I learned about a concept called drapetomania. Drapetomania blew my fucking mind because it pissed me off, but it blew my mind because drapetomania is a disease. It's a mental illness that they diagnosed with black people who wanted to run away. They said wanting to run away from this type of condition is a disease. You have a mental illness. It's called drapetomania. The reason why I'm saying that because the same people that diagnosed and said that black people as slaves had drapetomania were the ones who actually put together that DSM book. So when we look at ADHDs, when we look at ADHD, when we look at fucking depression, when we look at all of these different dynamics of shit, they all have the same inception. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Because in real time, and this ties into where I tell people like, yo, y'all still slaves, bro. I'm not a slave. We've been free for blah, blah, blah. You still treat your children like I said, why do black kids want to run away from home so much? That's drapetomania, nigga. They're not trying to run away from white people no more. They're not. Who are they trying to run from? The people who have assimilated into white people and started learning and consuming what white people do. So you view your people don't understand what it's like to consume so much of the same shit of a motherfucker. And when you consume their reality, you exhibit their reality. Only your kids know the difference. Like your kids, like if you beat a motherfucker and they decide I don't want to deal with this shit anymore, you call them problematic. Like we be forgetting that our kids are fucking human sentient beings for some fucking reason. Treat them like animals. And then we get mad when they treat the adults like animals. I got into it one time at a family function because the motherfucker said, yo, children are disrespectful these days. I said, no, they're not. They're responding to how I said, they're responding to how they're responded to. So I said, look, if somebody spoke to you in a certain way, would you not say, I'm not a child, don't talk to me like that? Yep, because I'm not a child. Okay, so that means you know that talking to children a certain way is wrong because you don't want to be spoken to like that. But you don't give a fuck about the child being spoken to like that. Because again, our consumption, some of us couldn't wait to get to adults so we can have somebody to beat on. You feel me? I've heard so many times I couldn't wait to get older so I can get in the adult conversation, realizing all they do is gossip about each other. Yep. Yep. Tying it back. What do we consume the most of? Salty and sweet shit. Salty and sweet shit. Our core, if we look at our familial structure, it's salty as fuck. Salty as fuck. You feel me? Motherfuckers will spread all kind of gossip about the family or about whatever in the family because you could fuck and you do it to your children. Now, you can't tell family business as a child. You can't. But your adult can tell everything about you. How you did this, that, and the third. And it's like, damn, bro, you just gonna embarrass me in front of everybody? You feel me? Or we always talk about sweet shit. Try to talk about sweet shit all the time. Shit to make your teeth rot, but sweet shit all the time. We're gonna talk about bitter truths. We keep a lot of secrets in the black community. We keep a lot of secrets in the black family. Feel me? Bitter and sour shit, we don't consume that. No, you digest that on your own. We gonna be salty and sweet the whole time. When we come around family functions, everybody, we ain't seen each other in a long time. Everybody fake happy because it's sweet. And then they're gonna be salty towards each other after it's all said and done. How I got here, I don't know, but back to the main point of how this established because like I said, I was going down a rabbit hole, bro. Sis, all y'all, just TikTok is just a lot of shit. And I was consuming, and I wasn't digesting. And I wasn't excreting. A lot of us are not putting away. Let's wrap this up because we know that we consume and we got to digest, but a lot of us are not discarding the waste. A lot of us are not digesting to know what is waste to discard it. That's why gossip is so easy. It's so easy. And why we end up involving ourselves with people who can only speak negative shit. You know how many motherfuckers are not winning in life and they would rather continue to talk about how bad the situation is? Again, it goes into worry. I hear people all the time say, don't worry, but they also are complainers. Well, this ain't this, that, and the third. This, that. You hear a lot of time with religious people. Yeah, my knee aching up, but Lord, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. You see how much consumption is, bro? I should not be able to record like that. Is from a TikTok fucking reel or some shit. You feel me? And I don't even know why it's in my head. I don't know the video. I can't recall where it came from, but I've heard it. I've consumed it. And it's just here. I haven't discarded it as waste yet because it is definitely waste. But I'm still alive. I'm still alive. So I had to get off that fucking app, bro. But the point that I'm making with that is that we get into these spaces. We get into these spaces, right? Where we consume, but we don't excrete anything. We don't discard any of the waste. Because now we get into the point of gluttony. We get into the point of hoarding. We don't know what's good or bad. When you get to a point where you cannot excrete it, you don't know what's for you and what's against you, so you hold it all. Which means that if you can't decipher what's good for you and bad for you, that means you haven't digested it before. You dig what I'm saying? You truly have not digested it. Or you do not know what the digestion is supposed to give to you. I have a expression that I tell people. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten into it with my family one time because I had this conversation. They thought I was shitting on my mama. I was like, no, motherfucker, I'm not shitting on my motherfucking mama, but this is the reality. And because y'all don't know shit about shit, y'all don't know shit. You feel me? So the conversation was, I said, yeah, I mean, I was I said we were malnourished kids. Now, this is me at the family function looking at the smorgasbord of food that we have laid the fuck out, saying we're malnourished and we were malnourished kids. You weren't malnourished. You ate every single day. That's just, I didn't say I wasn't well fed. I said I was malnourished. This is the part of consumption that you guys don't understand because you consume some shit and you don't digest it. You don't know that there's a difference between the word malnourished and well fed. Malnourished ain't got shit to do with being fed. It has everything to do with the lack of the nutrients. They're telling you right in fucking real time that half of the food that you eating right now ain't got none of the nutrients it once had 50 years ago. Bitch, I'm 32. If it ain't got the nutrients it had 50 years ago, that means it was gone 32. Come on. So again, when I say I was malnourished as a kid, I said, do we take vitamins? No. Okay. Did you take minerals? No. Okay. Did you know you needed vitamins and minerals in your body? No, you just knew that you needed a full stomach, right? So you got that full stomach, but did you get the necessary nutrients that you need? Do you know what lycopene is? Nah, what's lycopene? Huh, it's for your heart. Where you get it from? See, you don't know where you get it from. You can get it from tomatoes, but at the end of the day, it is something for your heart. Tomatoes is the only thing that you know to get lycopene from. Where else can you get lycopene? Um, oh no. So did you eat tomatoes every single day? No. So that means the only time you got lycopene was when you ate tomatoes, then, correct? And you didn't eat tomatoes every day. You're malnourished, motherfucker. Still well fed, still eating every day, but you're still malnourished because you lack the vital nutrients and sustenance to nourish the body. But what do? We pray for that. We eat a whole bunch of malnourishing food as we pray to our deity for the nourishments of our minds, bodies, and souls. We're not getting anything nourishing. You can pray all you want to. Nothing nourishing comes out of something that has no nutrients in it. It's not hard, but it is hard because when you constantly consume something, all you can do is put the front up when it's time to regurgitate and let your emotions fly and not let your logic kick in or not let the reality kick in of the information that you're being provided with. You don't know how to deal with information. Therefore, there's no knowledge in what you're saying. Therefore, everything that you consume, because you're not digesting it, you don't know how to excrete it. So you don't excrete it. You hoard it. I got so many people that be like, yo, I don't hoard information. I don't hold information. I know people right now that have insight on some shit that they won't share with another motherfucker because it'll liberate the person, and the person they're no longer dependent upon them. For some people, all they have is what they will not excrete. Woo, shit. Some motherfuckers consume so much just so they can have it, and they're not gonna tell anybody. I don't give a fuck. I tell y'all what books I read. I tell y'all where to get the shit from. You know why? Because I have a digestive palate. I know I gotta excrete this shit, and I know that in order for me to get some more, I have to excrete some shit. I don't give a fuck about telling y'all where I got some information from. Fuck what book I read, what video I watched, how I process, because it doesn't matter. It's when I consumed it, how did I digest it? Here's another point of digestion, and I might start trying to wrap it up here. Enzymes. Physical digestion, there's an enzyme that matches every food or everything that food has, right? So if you read Hitting It Raw, you already know where I'm about to go with this. There's 7 things your body needs: water, vitamins, minerals, lipids, fats, carbohydrates. No, lipids are fats. Lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and protein. Those are 7 things your body needs, which means you have 7 enzymes. Well, you don't really have 7 enzymes. You have 4 or 5 enzymes because water doesn't need an enzyme because water doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't have any taste. Yeah, because your body does not need an enzyme to break down water. Go figure. The vitamins and the minerals, they follow into one of the 4 other breakdowns I'm about to break down. But you have proteases for proteins, you have lipases for lipids, you have nucleases for nucleic acids, and you have amylases for carbohydrates. Now, I know it's like, well, why wouldn't it be called carbolases? Don't ask me. I'm not a scientist, but I know amylase, the prefix. I am a scientist. Psych. But nah, the amyl prefix is sugar and the carbohydrate is the sugar, right? So a carbolase is actually, when you're looking at carbolase, is an enzyme that breaks down carbon, right? Carbohydrate is a sugar. That's why it's amylase. But anyway, these things are necessary, right? Now, when you look at the flavor, right? The flavor is a combination of shit to trigger the taste buds. So these things are, these vitamins and minerals, these structural things, they form a certain way to give you a certain taste, right? So your body knows, okay, when this hits my tongue, I know to secrete this enzyme. What enzymes do we have mentally and spiritually to break down the shit that we digest? That's why I'm getting there. That's the reason why I asked that question. One of the biggest enzymes that you're supposed to use: vocabulary. Vocabulary is a mental enzyme. Your vocabulary is a mental enzyme, which means that you have to understand the words that you're hearing and consuming in order to digest them. You know how many motherfuckers, because some shit, I've had so many people who used to say shit, I don't know what you're saying, but it resonate. It can't resonate. You ain't got the enzyme to digest this shit. Sound good. You trust me. You believe what I said. You trust me. You trust me as a person. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know why? Because you don't have the enzymes necessary to consume and digest mental information. This is where it comes. You got to be well read. This is why I'm big on etymology. This is why I'm big on knowing the full dynamic of a fucking word. Because you have to know how to break down the entire structure of what you're hearing. So many people can't break down what they hear, so they respond to only what they know. Imagine getting a paragraph and you only understand 8 words out of that. Let's say the paragraph has 100 words, 150 words, and you only understand 8 words out of that shit. There's 100 words and you only understand 8. You literally can only understand 8% of that message. That's scary. That's scary as fuck. Because now, how do you digest the mental shit that you're consuming? If you can't digest it, how do you excrete it to know what's good and bad? Therefore, how the fuck do you learn? It's crazy. This is why this whole, grand rising shit. This is why I don't give a fuck about saying grand rising. I still say good morning to a motherfucker. I still say grand rising. I still say what the fuck is popping. I say what the fuck is cracking. I'm going to say what I feel for the moment in regards to the respect of what I'm talking about. But anyway, when we look at people who say, I got to say grand rising because of morning, I never understood how slow people could be until I looked at it and said, "Oh, 'cause when you say morning, you saying morning." No, you're not. That's why spelling is another digestive faculty. It is another enzyme. Vocabulary is a mental enzyme. Spelling is a mental enzyme. Because when you hear the context of the word, you're like, oh, you're saying morning, morning. You feel me? Or in the morning, I'm mourning a loss, mourning. It don't matter if it phonetically sound like phonetics are another digestive enzyme, but those have to be deciphered directly. That's where spelling comes in. See, people think literacy is just knowing how to read. It's knowing how to read, knowing how to write, which means if you know how to read and you know how to write, that means you know how to spell, you know how to understand. You know how to spell and you know how to comprehend because your vocabulary is on point. You understand the language, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, all of these things. They play a role in reality. Motherfuckers be thinking, oh, like you pick on the fucking nerds and you pick on the people that are smart enough to actually digest information that they consume. And then we get to a point where we humiliate people who are smart to the where they don't want to be smart anymore. And then we shut down everybody's faculty. And then people love to play stupid. I mean, they hate to look stupid, but they love to play clueless. And this is why. Because now you can consume all of this shit, but you can't digest not a damn thing. And now you become obese. You become mentally obese. You become spiritually obese. So now when somebody breaks some shit down to you that makes you have to get off your obese mental and spiritual ass, you can't just like, that's why I be trying to tell motherfuckers like, I am mentally in shape. I am spiritually in shape like a motherfucker. There's no fat in here. So you're not gonna get up here and think you just gonna match wits with me and think, oh, I'm no, you're not. No, you're not. I'm not mentally obese. I was getting there off TikTok and shit. Like I started to feel it. You feel me? But I'm not mentally obese. And if you're mentally obese, what the fuck you think's gonna happen when we have a mental exercise? That's where a lot of shit becoming problematic because a lot of people be thinking you being arrogant and rude and you calling people stupid. No, 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 no. I'm saying that we have a different mental physicality. I mean, a mental physique. I'm in shape mentally. I'm in very good shape mentally. I'm in very good shape spiritually, and a lot of people aren't in the same shape because of what they consume without digesting and excreting to understand. They have not reached that point. And so when you have a conversation with people, because it's all in my head, you can't gauge it, you start to look stupid. You start to look stupid. This is why I always tell people, and I always say this, y'all got to stop arguing with what you understand with what somebody believes. I'm not about to go back and forth with you with what you believe versus what I understand because our consumption is different. Our digestion is different. I have an efficient, as a physically, I have an efficient metabolism. Metabolism is twofold. You have catabolism and you have anabolism. But when people talk about metabolism, what do they think it's about? Oh, you got a high metabolism. That means you lose weight quick. No, high metabolism doesn't necessarily translate to mood. You have an efficient metabolism means that you have the anabolism and the catabolism in a perfect harmony, which means that what you break down, catabolism, is also what you build up, anabolism. Ever heard of anabolic steroids? And motherfuckers get big because it's building their bodies up. Catabolism is how you lose it. It's the breakdown. So when we look at overweight people, what's wrong with overweight people? You just stop needing you. It ain't gonna matter if you eat less. Your catabolism is trash. You need to fix your catabolism. There's things that you have to actually do to speed up the catabolism to break down foods. Which means what? You have to allow your body time to digest shit. So now we also have mental catabolism and anabolism. What's your mental metabolism like? Because that's what happens after the consumption. What's your spiritual catabolism like? Because after you consume, what do? Can your body break it down? Can your body absorb it? Can your mental body absorb the shit? Can your spiritual body absorb the shit? Or does it flush right back out as bullshit? Because imagine you eat all of this shit, but your catabolism is trash. So either you're going to store it as fat or you're going to shit it out without taking none of the nutrients in it. Plot twist, a lot of us, the reason why we're protein deficient and we got to take protein shakes is because our large intestine is damaged. Our large intestine is where protein is digested at, not the small. So what do? Because they know your large intestine is fucked up because of the colons being compacted, constipations, and all of the other bullshit that you eating, right? It damages your entire rectal area. So therefore, you cannot digest protein. So where do you get protein from? Oh, I gotta take a protein shake so it can digest in my small intestine where it's not supposed to be digested in the first place. Now motherfuckers is bloated. Why am I bloated? Why am I getting fat? Like, why am I this and the third? Because you're not using protein right, motherfucker. But you consumed what a motherfucker told you to consume, and now you trust it and you don't know how to digest it. So now, when we look at the bigger picture of all of this, physically, we know that we consume a certain food. What about mentally? What do you consume mentally? And are you in control of what you consume? The reason why I'm, like I said, bringing it back full circle, I was trying to read a book and I couldn't get into it. But then when I'm scrolling TikTok, I couldn't get off of it. It's like, yo, I'm not even in control of my consumption anymore. And this shit is indigestible. Like, I can't digest the shit like I'm watching on TikTok. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit, but it's sticking to me somehow. Now we're going into one final part. When you are consuming shit that you cannot digest, it's going to your unconscious mind still. It's bypassing subconscious mind. It's going straight to your unconscious mind. The music that you hear, you ever notice how you learn the words to a song? You don't know the time you learned it. You don't know the day you learned it. You just know, I know the words. For example, one of my favorite songs by Tupac is You Can't See Me. When it became my favorite song, I don't know. When I learned all the words to the motherfucker, I don't know. I just know I learned it now. I know these words. You got a favorite song from them. Man, I say the first song that I ever learned, I don't even remember the first song I learned the lyrics to because I got so many songs in my database. But when does it process for you that you know the words to a song? You don't know. You just know that you singing the motherfucker and you jamming to the bitch. You know the ad libs, you know everything. How subtle is that? The overconsumption of content is crazy. They're rewarding people for this shit. If you follow me on Instagram, you understand, you know, this is why I use words. I'm gonna slow your motherfucking ass down. I'm gonna slow you the fuck down and I'm going to let you read some shit. You feel me? I'm gonna use big words. I'm gonna use a different vocabulary. You feel me? Here's something that I've learned because of the consumption. A lot of motherfuckers will not stop and go look up the definition of a word. If they don't know it, they will leave that void there and just try to remember everything else that they do know. That's scary. That's scary. You feel me? I've had people tell me they learn new words by reading my books and reading my content. I'm proud of that. I'm happy for that. But it's like, did you just identify a new word or did you actually learn what it meant? Because if you didn't learn what it meant, you still don't know what I was talking about. So what did you just consume? Something that you can't digest. We're in a new world, y'all. And it's ironic because as we're in the Aquarian age, ignorance has never been promoted this much. Ignorance has been promoted far more than it should be, and we're in the Aquarian age. You're consuming so much information that you don't have time to validate it, fact check it, or anything. Just go with it. That's crazy. Because in the Aquarian age, which is the age of knowing, They have to get you to consume so much that you remain in the age of belief. Because if you remain in the age of belief, you'll always be able to be controlled. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there on that note. Um, this episode was largely, of course, to talk about consumption and shit, but more so to let y'all know that season 9 will be coming back. But this is what the delay is about. This was what the delay was. Usually, when I take a break between podcasts, I study, I read, I'm learning, but I was just playing around. Like I really was. Like, and I hate that. Like I wasn't reading like I'm supposed to. Um, I haven't been focused. And this is why I haven't been focused. I was just letting shit consume me. Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird because it's like when that shit start consuming you, bro, it's like it get to a point where it consumes you so much you think it's normalcy. It's the way of life. It's like, oh, it becomes habitual. You consume so much that it becomes habitual. You think this is the way things are supposed to be. I don't even like TikTok. You dig what I'm saying? I'm looking at this motherfucker like, yo, okay. It's mind numbing. Reels, all of these, like they're mind numbing. I have yet to see much shit where you're learning something. Like it's weird, bro. It's weird. So now with this, I got to be more conscious of what I am now producing. You feel me? I've noticed the change. Like I used to post a lot of ratchet shit. You feel me? Um, People used to love it. Like eat that shit up. Like my content, my analytics has completely changed. Like it was nothing for me to pull in a good 20,000 people um in a month with a you know what I'm saying, with some posts that I was making. But it was always ratchet, crazy, stupid shit that I didn't fucking like. Like this is mind numbing consumption. Now that I'm back switched up to the reading and shit, like yo, it dropped. I probably break about 3,700 people a month now. I'm not even mad. It's quality over quantity at this point because it's like now the people they want so much consumption. They want so much consumption. They're like, and they're consuming shit that they like, you know what I'm saying? It don't make sense. At the end of the day, I have to slow people down. Like, yo, slow down and read some shit, bro. Read some shit. I watch so much content just go out there. And you don't even need 100 followers, yo. Imagine 100 people showing you 5 pieces of content every day. It's why I scale back. I don't follow the same amount of people I used to follow. And then now I'm even cutting back more because it's like nobody has the substance I'm looking for anymore. I don't feel like playing these games anymore. I don't feel like being a part of stupid shit anymore. But some people like consuming stupid shit because now we go back to the salty and the sweet shit. A lot of stupid shit is sweet shit. You don't have to think about it. It's already prepackaged for you. You feel me? A lot of people just want to stay in a space where what they consume continues to make them stay as obese as they want to be. Imagine a mental obese motherfucker. Imagine a spiritually obese motherfucker. Like people don't even consider these things. Mental obesity. You'll never know that you're mentally out of shape. You'll never know that you're mentally obese, especially if you're around other motherfuckers who, case in point, Biggest thing, if we look at soul food, right? That's cultural. So nobody knows that this is wrong. You know how many fat kids were called healthy when they were young? That's a healthy boy. I knew this homie. It was my homie and shit. We used to call him 8 ball, right? Like MJG, like 8 ball. He was like, he had to be over 300 pounds easily when we was like 11 and 12 years old. But every time people talk to him, like, yo, that's a healthy, like, they be telling them that's a healthy boy. That's not healthy, my nigga. But when you consume this reality and you can't digest it properly, big people, I've heard all my life that big people are healthy. That's crazy. I'm not saying they're not healthy, but I'm just saying the association because it's, now you get to a point where people like hearing sweet shit. Nobody can hear the bitter truth. That's why Dr. Boyce Watkins be getting so much flack when we talk about Lizzo. Now, low key, it might be, I'm like, yo, bro, you ain't got to keep talking about Lizzo like that. Like, I don't know, like defender type shit, because it is wrong, but it's like, at the same time, don't let that shit consume you. You feel me? I've had a conversation with a woman one time and she asked me would I date a big girl. I said no. She said that's shallow. It ain't shallow. I don't live a lifestyle for fat people. I'm sorry. It's not like I'm gonna be fucked up. One of us is gonna lose weight or one of us is gonna gain it uncontrollably. I'm not gaining shit. I'm not changing my lifestyle and my reality. So that means that she's gonna have to change hers. And who am I to make her change her reality? You got to accept her as she is. I will accept her as she is. And if she accepts me as I is, it's going to be called osmosis. She's going to lose weight. I'm not gaining it. The fuck? My body and my lifestyle is not built to be obese. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of us want to consume shit that we don't even want to digest properly. This ties back in. Like a lot of us, we want to be a part of consumption of shit that we don't want to actually digest and excrete. We don't want to actually process within our bodies. You feel me? I know people right now who call me a nerd because I read a lot. Eh, bitch, you don't read enough. So, okay, whatever. What book you reading now? Oh, nerdy ass. And that's why you always coming to me with the questions. And this is why I charge y'all. So I make y'all pay attention. The fuck? You feel me? I know so many people right now who keep asking me, like, yo, what books do you read? And yo, send me the books that I send you my whole book list and you'll never get to where I am. You know why? Because you cannot digest it the way that I digest it. You just want to consume what I've consumed. It ain't no different than physical fucking food. What's your mental type like? You feel me? I'm an ectomorph. You feel me? That means I'm tall and slender. I don't give a fuck. Like you can be on whatever diet I am on. You're not gonna look like me. Cause that ain't your body build, homie. Same mentally. You can read whatever book I tell you to read, but you'll never understand it how I understand it because you don't understand why I understand it. Our consumption is different. Just because we watch the same TikToks, just because we watch the same shit, what are we getting out of this motherfucker? There's people right now that I know that can watch a TikTok and just, keep scrolling. I can watch a TikTok. I had to get off that shit, but I can watch a TikTok and get a whole podcast idea. Because how do you digest what you consume? And I know it seems like what I just said contradicted everything. No, no, no. This is why I had to get off this shit because it got to a point where I could no longer digest this shit. I can get a post and see Instagram is different because I've been in control of Instagram for so long that it didn't sneak up on me. Consuming what you call it, TikTok, that's different. That's different, homie. All you see is motherfuckers dancing. It's like it's older and shit. And it's like, yo, come on, bro. We ain't got nothing else. You ain't got nothing else. So now when the consumption has to be quick and indigestible, what does that say about the production? What does that say about how you have to produce this shit? Shit different, yo. Even now, Instagram's telling me shit like, yo, you need to actually post videos. You can't just keep posting words and still images. Why? Because y'all don't want niggas to read? I don't give a fuck about none of that bullshit, bro. I'm going to make sure motherfuckers get this work. I'm gonna make sure that what people are consuming, they're digesting it differently. You can like there's shit that I will say that it will resonate months down the line, years down the line when you get the final words and you understand everything about it. I challenge people, bro, because I challenge myself. But it's all in what you consume. You got to realize that our consumption is everything. But more than our consumption is our ability to digest it. If you cannot digest, if you do not have a healthy metabolism, mentally and spiritually as well as physically, it don't matter. It don't matter. Physically, my metabolism, I got aunties and shit that still say, like, you feel me? Damn, how are you still the same size? How are you not? Because we digest differently, because we consume differently. When I'm done consuming, I stop, which is why I had to get off TikTok because I didn't stop. I remember I was scrolling. I was scrolling one time. I had to be for like 3 hours straight because I was watching Once Upon a Time, and those are like hour episodes, and I missed 3 episodes, but I didn't miss nothing on TikTok. The shit is just playing in the background, and I'm just like, and then I'm even hitting the play button to go to the next episode, and I didn't watch none of the fucking episode, but I'm consumed on everything on TikTok. And these are minute clips. Imagine, imagine how much I consumed in 3 hours. If these clips are a minute long, at most, we're gonna say at most a minute long, and that's 180 minutes. That's 180 clips of content, my nigga. 180 clips of content in a day. All different shit. All different shit. But most of the shit, because of the algorithm, was about what? Black men and black women hating each other. You get insane with the shit over time. To where it caused me to struggle reading a full page in a book because this content is staying the same. You got to detox. You got to detox. You got to take some time and stop consuming certain shit. It's one of the reasons why I only listen to my podcast, as far as podcasts go. You feel what I'm saying? And then I got to get to a point. I got to stop watching battle rap too, because it's putting me in a space where it's like, damn, kill, kill, kill. This fucks with my creativity and my ability to write because I don't write about that shit no more. But then when that's all that's consuming, I be thinking about bars, right? Yeah, I can murder a motherfucker right now 100 ways and be. I don't want to do that shit. But that's what you consume. Whatever it is that you consuming, please take some time to let that shit digest, yo. Let that shit digest. Let that shit met itself out. You feel me? And then associate it accordingly because it's going somewhere. You're going to become mentally obese. You're going to become spiritually obese as you constantly let these imageries and shit, as you consume them. Question is, are you going to be in shape? The question is, how do you get back in shape? Learn to digest. And then take some time to digest some shit and stay away from shit that's not conducive to what you're doing. It's a rabbit hole, homie. It's a rabbit hole and it's infinite and has no bottoms. But I'm gonna go to end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And we gotta start controlling what our babies consume. Cause you know how they say, well, the TV, the radio, the music and shit influences your kid. This is how. Children don't know how to digest this shit. I don't think we understand that. I don't think we understand that. We spend so much time elevating our children to more mature spaces, but we never take the time to realize they cannot digest what we're making them consume. It's too much for them. It's way too much for them. They cannot digest it, and it doesn't stop. Like we were the generation who we remember MASH, my guy. You feel me? Not only MASH, because you know to go to sleep after MASH. Don't nobody watch MASH. But even before MASH, when TV didn't come on after 10 o'clock, when that flag just waved until 6 o'clock in the fucking morning. The kids nowadays will never understand. They'll think you lying if you told them that. We have streaming content. Remember you used to have to wait a week to watch the next episode or something? What just came out? Fucking Wednesday, right? On Netflix. Dope ass show. I've already finished the whole episode. I already finished the whole first season. These are hour-long episodes. I've already finished the first season. And it just came out. We don't have time to process shit no more, y'all. We don't. So what you think is happening to our babies? And they don't even know how to digest what they consume. Take some time when you monitoring what your kids watch. Not don't just monitor if it's age appropriate. Monitor if it's digestible. And if it's indigestible to them, find out where they're storing it. It's deep. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Um, Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. Season 9, I'm coming back after Christmas. If I come back before Christmas, I'll come back before, but I'm more likely to come back after Christmas. I'm getting my consumption shit back in order. I'm taking some time to detox from all of the shit. Because I need to. But Go Kiss Season 9 will be coming still. Or it might just drop at the top of the year. We'll see. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.